Hey everyone, this is Chris Crazy House, and I've finally been getting through a lot of these different animated series that I started watching on Netflix at the beginning of this quarantine. So I finished Seis Manos, that's one of the ones that I was watching. So I was going to give my review here of it, and for those who have checked it out, feel free to comment in the comments section and let me know what you thought of it as well. So for those who don't know what it is, Seis Manos is a action anime type series, and it's done by Powerhouse Studios, and I think Netflix put a lot of money into it as well. It's a it's an interesting combination as far as animation goes because it's I would say it's a combination of Mexican culture, exploitation cinema, horror, and kung fu flicks all mixed into one. So some people might find it a little off-putting at first because it really defies any type of genre where you could lock it down, other than saying it is a adult type animation. And what I mean by that is it does not shy away from violence, nor does it shy away from using profane language or anything like that. It's very R-rated in that regard, kind of like the Mortal Kombat movie Scorpion's Revenge that came out not too long ago. So, and there's been a big resurgence of adult animation thanks to streaming services like Netflix and Amazon and Apple. Now there's more of an outlet for things like that, which I'm very happy of. So, Seis Manos follows these three Mexican orphans who were raised by this kung fu master from China, and he trains them up in the ways of kung fu. And then, of course, as always, the martial arts master is murdered under mysterious circumstances, and they have to find out what happened to him. So it's hard for me to really explain this only because there's a lot going on, and if I do explain actual plot points, if you haven't seen it, you'll be looking at me like I'm crazy because there's so much stuff that goes in here. There's like they have the Mexican crime boss who's voiced by Danny Trejo, but he's a crime boss, but he's also has supernatural powers as well. And he gets his supernatural powers from his dead mother, who he keeps locked in this casket, and he actually eats her flesh and also gives parts of her flesh to his minions out there, and that makes them these unstoppable, monstrous zombie type creatures. Like I said, it seems strange with me saying it right now, but there's a lot that is going on in this series. So there's that plot. He's the main villain at first, anyway, and there's also the subplot about the actual the orphan's kung fu master and how he's connected to the main villain and also connected to another villain that shows up later in the series. So there's a lot going on here. Like I said, it's kind of hard to nail it down and explain it, and I don't want to give too much away. Now, overall, it's a cool series. So if you enjoy just adult animation, you will enjoy this series. It's very fun to watch. The animation is very well done. It uh, doesn't pull any punches. That I actually enjoyed seeing how they animated the kung fu scenes. Like they did a really great job as far as actually animating actual Wing Chun and wushu poses and fight stances and choreography. They did a great job with that. So you will enjoy it for that. It's more practical as far as the fighting goes. So don't expect Dragon Ball Z type action. It's not that. It's more like if this were like an action movie, like a Hong Kong action movie, it's more like that as far as the fight scenes and action goes. But you'll like it for that. And like I said, they don't pull any punches when it comes to the amount of violence. There's some really shocking sequences in here that I was not expecting. They go there with it. Now, in one way, what makes this a good animated series is the fact that it does not follow what you expect to happen. but also it kind of loses you by doing that as well. And what I mean by that is that it takes some twists and turns story wise to where it keeps it interesting, but there are some things it's like, okay, come on now, this is too much. And one of the things that I had a problem with this series was the fact that it has more than one main villain. Like the Mexican drug lord that you see at the beginning, while he's the main villain somewhat, he's not the main villain by the end, and it doesn't transition in a smooth way. Like there's no connection between the two. It's just this other guy just literally shows up out of nowhere, and you have to kind of go along with that, and he becomes the main villain by the last two episodes. So that's like one of the problems I have with it. He just seems to come out of nowhere. Not to say that he's a bad villain or he's not cool or I'm not interested to see where the series goes if they do a second season, but I was not enthralled with that story wise. So out of 10, I guess I will give this series maybe a 6 or a 7. It's not bad, but like I said, story wise, there's some things that were harder for me to keep up with, and I also don't. I'm just gonna be honest. I didn't like how they treated the black character. He seemed like a very cool character in his design. He's voiced by what's his name, Michael Coulter, the guy that played Luke Cage on the Marvel Netflix series. But he was too much of a stereotype as far as like trying to make him like this badass Shaft type who gets all the girls. There's even a running joke about him sleeping with his boss's wife, and it was like, that was a little too much. And like they try to have some humor on this show, but to me, he just seemed too ridiculous. Almost like he was a joke in and of himself, and none of the other minority characters are treated like that. Not the Latina characters or the Asian characters weren't treated that way. But when you're not the one in control of the show, you really can't control how they're going to view you, if they're going to make you a stereotype or not. So I appreciated it just for the art of the show, and the character designs are very well done. I do know two people that have worked on this show. I actually worked with them years ago. There's one that my very first job. Actually, some of that animation appears here on this channel, so if you want to go watch it, please do. I worked with this Latino artist named Ozzy Martin, and he did the designs for Tomb Slayer, which is on this channel, as well as another animation we worked on together called Eve. So if you want to go see that, you can go see it. He did a lot of the character designs, and I did the animation for it. So go check those out here on this channel. So that's one of the reasons I actually decided to watch this, because I knew some people who I've worked with before who were working on this during my days of working at different studios and doing animation in Miami. So once again, Seis Manos is a good show, decent show. You'll enjoy the action and the animation, but it had a couple of weird things in there. And like I said, I'm eager to see, like, maybe they'll redeem themselves in season 2, where everything will kind of tie together a little bit better. Because I just wasn't sure with the way the series went in this first season. It was just kind of odd. Like I said, I don't mind having stories deviate or having stories go in different directions than you expect, because that's a good thing sometimes. But when it just gets too off the off the chain, too off the charts, you're kind of wondering like what's going on. And it even seemed like there are some episodes where they were more like filler, as they could have, if they just did like a rewrite, they could have trimmed this down and had a more solid series. That's just my humble opinion. So you folks let me know how you feel about it in the comment section if you've seen it. And if you haven't, I would definitely say go check it out, because I really haven't spoiled much that you won't enjoy. So go check it out and let me know what you think about Seis Manos in the comments section. Anyway, Chris Crazy House signing out. Peace.